move on from looking at the different types of cells like prokaryotes, eukaryotes, and plant animal cells, and we're going to focus now instead on cellular energy. So now all living things need energy, including things as small as cells. And we're going to focus on how plant and animal cells obtain their energy. And we're going to start by looking at something called autotrophs and something called heterotrophs. So autotrophs are organisms that are able to make their own food. The example that we're looking at are plants. And so plants are able to make their own food using energy from light, carbon dioxide, and water. And then heterotrophs are going to be organisms that need to obtain energy from their environment. So animals like us, we end up getting energy from the food that we eat. So we have to find food in our environment, we have to eat that food, and then that food has to be broken down in order for the energy to be released. So now all living things need a way to break down food to release energy, and plants and animals are going to do this the same way. So plants and animals get their food that contains their energy in a different way, but they break down their food to release the energy in the same way. So let's take a look at plants first. And plant cells are able to store energy from the sun. So we're looking at a diagram here, so you can see it's a leaf, and we're really zooming in to look at the chloroplast inside of a cell inside this leaf. And so you can see that with photosynthesis, plants need to take in carbon dioxide, which is the CO2, they need to take in water, which is the H2O, and they also need energy from sunlight. And when they have those three things within a chloroplast, they are able to make glucose or sugar, which is this C6H12O6, and they're also able to release oxygen. And that oxygen is really important. It's going to go out to the atmosphere so animals can breathe it in. And again, this is happening inside the chloroplast of plant cells. Since only plant cells have chloroplasts, animal cells do not have chloroplasts, animal cells cannot go through photosynthesis. Only plant cells can. Now that we know how plant cells are able to store energy in food, now we need to look at how plant and animal cells release energy from the food. And so this is through a process called cellular respiration. Again, cellular respiration is how plants and animals break down their food. So in this case, we're looking at glucose, and we're still using that C6H12O6. And when oxygen is available, that's the O2. Then in the mitochondria, we're able to break down the glucose to release carbon dioxide and water, and this time we're going to release energy in the form of ATP. ATP is a molecule that cells use for energy, so it's going to help them kind of go about all of their daily lives, get all their jobs done, so it's just the energy source for the cell. And because this happens in the mitochondria, and all plant and animal cells have mitochondria, plants and animals will go through cellular respiration, but again, only plants can photosynthesize because only plant cells have chloroplasts. Now we're going to look at another diagram that just sort of relates photosynthesis and cellular respiration to each other. So if we start up here, we have light energy from the sun reaching the chloroplast of a plant cell. The light energy is going to be harvested using the chlorophyll, those pigments inside the chloroplast. Photosynthesis is able to then make glucose and oxygen. Plant animal cells will then use that to make ATP, okay, and that's going to happen through cellular respiration. So the glucose and the oxygen is going to move to the mitochondria. The mitochondria is where cellular respiration happens. So the cellular respiration is going to break down the glucose. It's going to use the oxygen to help in that process. It will release energy, and it's also going to release carbon dioxide and water. And it's a cycle, so that carbon dioxide and water can again be used by the chloroplast to make glucose and oxygen. Again, that glucose and oxygen can be broken down. So you guys can see how this is a cycle and how these two really do work. These two processes really do work together. This is very similar, but now we're looking at it at a much larger scale. So again, you've got sunlight is going to enter into the ecosystem. The chloroplasts here are going to be found in the plant cells in these trees. They will take in that light energy. They'll use carbon dioxide and water to make glucose and release oxygen. That glucose and oxygen will go to a mitochondria. It could be a mitochondria in that same plant cell, Or maybe that leaf got eaten, and now that glucose and oxygen is going to a mitochondria in an animal cell, cellular respiration will take place. Energy will be released in the form of ATP. Again, that's the energy that cells need to do work, to go about their daily lives, to perform all of their chemical reactions. That ATP is very important. And then as a byproduct, that cellular respiration is going to release water. It's kind of hard to see, but that is supposed to be H2O, which is water, and again, carbon dioxide. And so this is, again, a cycle sort of showing how photosynthesis and cellular respiration relate to each other. So here's our quick check. This time you got 5 questions. So number 1 says, what types of organisms are able to photosynthesize? Number 2, what types of organisms use cellular respiration? Number 3, what is the overall equation for photosynthesis? Number 4, what is the overall equation for cellular respiration? And then finally, how do photosynthesis and cellular respiration relate to each other?